Would you like to know how well your students are progressing on their path to new knowledge and skills? Do you need to identify strengths as well as challenges and gaps as they make their way? This video will help you in your efforts to assess your students' learning. To measure effectively, we need the proper tool. Assessments are the tools we use to measure our students' learning progress. To select an appropriate assessment tool, we need to consider three things. First, we need to understand the task at hand. That is, what are we looking to measure? Secondly, we need to select the most effective assessment tool or approach for the type of learning we're targeting. And finally, we need to consider who is the best person to carry out the measurement. Let's take a look at the task at hand. If you want to identify student strengths and weaknesses and support and guide student progress towards a larger goal, you'll want to try some formative assessment. Because formative assessment is aimed at shaping student behavior and skill, these assessments are usually immediate, brief, frequent, and quite low stakes. On the other hand, if you want to show what your students have mastered or measure and report a final course outcome, you might want to look at summative assessment. These are normally higher stakes, objective measures of performance or knowledge. Let's take a look at the types of activities that might fall into each of these. As we said, the main purpose for formative assessment is to guide the student towards a learning goal. This is done by observing the student's knowledge or performance relative to the goal in small, regular instances, then providing actionable feedback to help the student progress. Formative assessment has many benefits. It helps you, the instructor, to identify conceptual errors early enough to correct them. It encourages timely feedback while it can still impact learning. Formative feedback also promotes active reflection on the part of both the student and the instructor. Additionally, the low-stakes nature of this assessment can also lower the motivation for student cheating, potentially giving a more reliable measure of the student's attainment. Now, formative assessment also has its challenges. Because of the low-stakes nature of the assessment, it may be difficult to motivate students to perform at their best, unless the activity is very engaging in other ways. As well, providing actionable feedback that addresses the learning needs of all students can be time-consuming for the instructor. Learning technologies can help with this challenge. To make the most of your formative feedback, consider the following. What is the purpose or goal of your assessment? What kind of information are you looking to get? How will you give your students feedback that tells them how they're doing and how to move forward successfully? How will you keep your formative assessments short, frequent, ongoing, and engaging? And finally, keep in mind that formative feedback can be one-on-one, but in some instances, you might want to make it more efficient by summarizing common errors and strengths for the entire group. For formative assessment, consider the wide range of classroom assessment techniques presented by Thomas Angelo and Patricia Cross in their book, Classroom Assessment Techniques, a Handbook for College Teachers. They suggest a wide variety of activities. For example, using writing, such as the muddiest point or minute papers, or categorizing, as in a features matrix or pros and cons grids, outlining of context, form, or function, journaling, such as word journals and reflective journals, quizzing and self-tests that can be student-generated or instructor-generated, checklists and logs like time logs, learning logs, and knowledge checklists, creation of graphics and mind maps, and polls where students can share their opinion and their knowledge. Learning technologies and the internet provide a wealth of variations on these types of tasks. For example, tools like discussion boards, blogs, and quick quizzes are available in your learning management system. Or you can use simple tools to add interactions and questions to your instructional videos. You can have students generate their own audio or video using their smartphones. Or online games like Kahoot or Breakout and others provide a game-like environment for students to check their understanding. And finally, student response systems allow all students to provide answers and receive feedback in a very quick, efficient manner. Remember, formative assessment provides feed forward to guide future performance, not just to report on past performance. It should include resources, extra help, guidance, and tips for success. One-to-many feedback is directed to the group as a whole, to address common errors or misconceptions, or to guide improved performance. This allows students equal access to guidance, as well as the opportunity for students to compare and reflect how they're doing relative to the rest of the class. Additionally, the use of multiple media can address the diversity of learner preferences and needs. Feedback can be in the form of text, audio, video, or images. Now let's look at summative assessment. Summative assessment results in an objective measure of achievement. It too has its benefits and challenges. It can help guide student promotion and placement. It provides a means for evaluating instructional activities in a course and promotes teacher and school accountability. Due to its higher stakes, it encourages students' engagement in a course. We've all heard the question, is this for marks? The challenges in the use of summative assessment include an over-reliance on summative measures over formative techniques, these former seeming more simple. The high-stakes nature of summative assessment may promote cheating, and this same problem may promote teaching to the test. Finally, it does not serve to teach, as there's usually no actionable feed-forward information or correction of errors. For effective summative assessment, consider keeping it high stakes, reflecting the required investment for the outcome. Secondly, focus on accurate and reliable measurement of student achievement rather than on providing feedback. Make sure that it actually measures the demonstration of the intended learning outcomes. And finally, summative assessments should have meaning, value, and relevance to the discipline. They need to go beyond written exams and be authentic, purposeful, and unique. Avoid summative assessments that merely measure random factual knowledge. The best summative assessment is objective-driven, meaningful, and relevant to the student. It encourages reflection and engagement, and it offers multiple possible responses, multiple perspectives, and multiple resources. Let's look at some common summative assessment activities. Objective tests and quizzes are the traditional workhorse of summative assessment. They're effective and efficient for assessing remembering and understanding of facts, concepts, and procedures. If carefully constructed, they can also measure application analysis and evaluation skills. Need to assess higher level cognitive skills? Open-ended assessments such as essays and reports provide a means to do this. Use these to assess students' ability to understand and apply, to analyze and evaluate, and even to create with facts and concepts that they've learned. You can also use an essay or report format to some extent to assess students' procedural knowledge. Concept maps give students a deeper understanding of concepts, processes, or events. When students develop a concept map, they must specify relationships between concepts. This encourages complex critical thinking. It stimulates deeper understanding and long-term memory of concepts, and it integrates the new knowledge into existing cognitive structures. Directed concept maps can help show what students remember and understand. With less structure and direction, students can develop concept maps or graphic organizers that demonstrate their ability to apply, analyze, evaluate, and to create. Do you need to verify that your students know how to, instead of just know about, your content? Through projects and performances, students can show you what they understand and what they can do. These kinds of assessments can cover a range of cognitive and knowledge objectives in your course. There are many other variations to these classic summative assessment strategies. Choose the one that best showcases the objectives that you're targeting. We've talked about determining the purpose of an assessment and about selecting the right assessment tool for the job. One final consideration: who should provide the assessment? Assessment can be instructor-driven, but it can also be self-directed, as in self-checks and self-reflection. Or it can be done through peer feedback. Peer assessment helps build trust, confidence, and intellectual community. It can also lead to more thoughtful and reflective discussions, and it can help cultivate critical and evaluative judgment and maturity. To develop effective peer feedback assessments, design the assignment and the evaluation together so that they're integrated. Select appropriate criteria for the student assessors and include the students in the assessment planning. Communicate with them the value of peer assessment and have them review the assessment before beginning the assignment. Other options for using peer assessment are to consider using peer feedback for one part of the assignment, maybe during the developmental phase of a project. And you can also consider using anonymous feedback if your students are not comfortable critiquing their friends. So now you've built your assessment toolbox. Which ones will you try out in your next course? Consider your strategies carefully. They can be a great tool to keep your students moving toward their final objectives and to celebrate once they arrive.